All right. Thank you for joining me. Continuing on my Healing Through Sharing series. I'm Rosanna, and today I have with me a very special guest, Pina Sama. So, Pina is and you might recognize Pina. So, Pina is a personality, a radio personality. She's a woman's mentor and a Reiki master. And so we're
Yes.
going to go more into that little detail. And so, Pina, you and I met during a chakra balancing certification program.
That's
And that
right.
was just at the start of COVID, I think, and where things were, being taught online and there was a lockdown, I think. I think it was a lockdown when
Oh yeah.
we had that class, yeah. And so obviously we couldn't get into face to face, but I remember, that was, I guess, one of the I've done online before, but I think we came together from different areas. I mean, I can't remember how many were in the class, but it was a really nice time because of COVID to actually converse and to learn and to kind of set our worries aside. And what better way to do that than with a chakra balancing class?
I
So
completely agree because at that point we were, like you said, in a lockdown, so we were so far apart from each other, but yet
mhm.
online we could form this connection. And and I don't know what drew you to that particular course, but for me, I've always been interested in the chakras.
Mhm.
And what better time to use, than that time in lockdown than to learn and better yourself. So I'm so glad
Exactly.
I did it, and I it connected me with so many people like you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes when you're feeling off, where it's like, why do I feel this way?
Mhm.
It all relates to the chakras.
Right.
So when you open yourself up and you learn about it, there's so
Mhm.
many aha moments. It's like,
Right.
wow, okay, this is why this is like this, and this is it's amazing.
It is. It really is. Yeah. So, Peanut, thank you so much for joining me on my series. And so, tell us a little bit about your journey. Any story you want to share with us. Um,
Oh, wow. There's so much, but like you said, my main role is a radio personality in Toronto. But I am a Reiki master and I'm very spiritual and involved in spiritual work and mentoring. Um, but since we're discussing change and dealing with change, I was well, I encountered a big change in November with my job, and it was very unexpected. So that was extremely tough because when you're not expecting a change like that,
mhm.
it can throw you off because it's like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
What's next?
Yeah.
And of course, I felt all the emotions. I allowed myself to feel all the emotions because you don't want to push anything down. You want to
Right.
just let it out. So, I was sad. I was angry. I was scared. But, I gave myself some time. And what really helped me was shifting my perspective and surrounding myself with the right people too to help me get there
So
because
important.
you have bad days.
Yeah.
Everyone has bad days. That's what makes us
Absolutely.
human.
Yeah.
So shifting my perspective was a really important thing, and it made all the difference for me.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, even when you do expect it, because similarly that happened to me as well. And I I was expecting it. I saw all the
Mm,
signs. And even then, it's hard. It's that transition that you need. You're right. Like I still felt sad. I felt angry. But in a way, because I was expecting it, I was a little bit more prepared. And
hmm.
so, you have to make that shift. You're right of how you're seeing things.
Yeah, because it's easy to start feeling that fear, like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen?
Mm,
Is it going to work out? But you have to shift that fear to faith and start looking at it with excitement, like, oh wow, okay, there's something else coming my way. I can't wait to
yes,
see what's lining up for me.
right.
Um, so that's the step I had to take, was start looking at it like, okay, there's something else and it's coming my way and I'm going to
Right.
get excited about it. Because I'll be honest, this happened to me years ago. I lost a job
Mhm.
and I went through, the fear, but it ended up being the greatest thing, because a month later I was working at a station that I had always dreamed of working at. So you
Right.
have to just believe that everything is working out for your highest good, and
Yeah.
you have to trust the journey,
And
trust the
that's the hard
process.
part, right?
It's not always easy. Not always easy at all. But I mean, you have to just have faith and know that it's all going to work out for you. It
Mhm.
really is. It's not, and we've heard this before,
Yes.
it's not happening to you, it's happening for you.
Right.
Just continually remind yourself, because it will work out. It
Yeah.
will work out.
Yeah. So you shifted, you said that you shifted your perspective. What
Mm-hmm.
what other things, and how does one shift their perspective? I mean, you know,
Mm,
I might find it easy, but somebody else might say, "Oh, how am I even going to start to do that?"
yeah. Well, for me, I guess it was a little bit easier because I had previous experience with this where I did lose my job, but then I ended up working at a fantastic place.
Hmm.
So I reminded myself, you know what, it worked out then and it's going to work out now. And just think of little things, think of experiences in your life where, you expected something to happen a certain way and it didn't, but then it was okay. It was
Right.
better than you expected. So you just have to remind yourself and just try and let go. Just try and let go.
Mm.
And just know that, you know, there's a higher power out there. You're
Absolutely.
you're
Yeah.
being looked after. But as far as some of the other practices I incorporated, I really had to become more mindful. And that was something, I'll be honest, I was lacking when I
Mhm.
was working. So, meditation. I started journaling, which is extremely, extremely helpful.
Yes.
Um, and I started incorporating a lot of self-care, which is something I was lacking. And it's, I'm
Mm.
sure a lot of women go through where they don't take care of themselves as much as they should.
Right.
So, self Reiki. I also go for Reiki myself. Someone that I extremely trust. Taking baths. For me, I like working with crystals as well.
Mhm.
Going outside. There's nothing more grounding than being out in nature.
Absolutely.
Um,
Yes. Yeah.
so just incorporating all these things into my daily life, like doing it
Mhm.
on a regular basis, has really made a difference.
Yeah, because as women, I mean, we typically don't take care of ourselves,
Yeah.
and taking care of ourselves physically and emotionally as well. So because there's two sides to that self-care. So self-care isn't just about going to the spa and getting treatments, but it's
Mm-hmm.
actually, like you said, that emotional, the meditating, the Reiki, which helps your emotional well-being, and
Mm-hmm.
that to me is really important when you talk about or when you think about self-care.
Absolutely. Yeah. And self-love too.
Hmm.
Self-love. You got to take care of yourself. Take care of
Yes.
that inner child, because sometimes when you're dealing with transition, that's when the inner child, a lot of stuff starts coming up for you.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you really have to work with that. And that's another thing I find, that with change,
Hmm.
there's comes a lot of healing if you're
Yes.
willing,
Yes.
and a lot of growth.
Absolutely.
So change is often a good thing.
Hmm. Hmm. It's uncomfortable, but sometimes you have to get out of that comfort zone,
Yeah.
for you to grow, to have that growth mindset happen. Because a lot of people are afraid that financially they're not going to be okay.
Mhm,
But like
mhm.
you said, I think if you have that faith, then you are taken care of. You're going to
Yeah.
find that resource that will put food on your table, that will help you pay your bills.
Mhm.
I
And
remember, sorry, I remember when I was married. I'm not married anymore, but my husband lost his job, and I thought, oh my gosh, how are we going to survive? But it's
mhm.
amazing how when you have that faith, you almost find the answers on how you're going to
Yes.
survive, don't you?
Yeah.
it's like these things come to you, and with you, with, you said mindfulness, and a lot of people don't take that time to be mindful and just to sit still and listen, ask, and get those answers.
Oh my gosh, that is so big. Ask because the answers will come. And for me, I find the answers sometimes come during meditation or,
Mhm.
sitting in the bathtub,
Right.
lying there, just,
Yeah.
nothing in my mind. But then, the answers come, or there's little signs,
Yes.
that
Yeah.
you just have to be open to it.
Yes. And being open is really, really important. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and I mean, it's hard to be open sometimes when you're in that situation, but like you mentioned, um, you have to look for those signs and ask for those signs and have the faith.
And you know what? You really have to surround yourself with some amazing people too, because I think that support system is so important.
Yes, yeah.
So when you have great people around you that are, lifting
Mhm.
you up, that makes all the difference as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. And so tell me, how do you deal with somebody in your circle who doesn't give you that support?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I guess I'm really fortunate because I've surrounded myself with really good people that are spiritual like myself.
Mhm.
Um, but if I encounter someone that is maybe a little negative, um, I try not to take on what they're dealing with because
Mhm.
as healers we can pick up other people's energy. We're a little more sensitive to it.
Yes.
So and I try to just I try not to, I don't judge because everyone's along their journey. Everyone's dealing
Mhm.
with something different, but I just try to not take on what they're feeling or what they're dealing with and make it my
Right.
problem, which is it that takes some work.
It
I
does.
try to be sympathetic because obviously, I
Mhm.
I am that type of person, but I try not to take it on and make it a part of what I'm dealing with.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because in the end, it's not you, it's them. They're
Yes.
they're probably
Oh,
dealing with something, and that's why they're negative, or and they're not in that space yet.
yeah. And I think that's so important to remember too when you're dealing with someone and they've done something and you start taking it personally. But no,
Right.
no, no, no. You can't do that because people's actions is all about them and what
That's
they're
right.
dealing with. And we have to remember that because sometimes we do take things personally, like, why
Yeah.
are you doing that? What did I do? But it's all
It
about them.
yeah, it's human nature, right? And we do that all the time. Yeah. Yeah. But it's about them. It's not necessarily about you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So what else are you up to? What else helps you um,
Oh,
grow, and what helps you on your healing journey?
well, I'll be honest, anytime I've encountered some sort of change or some sort of difficulty, I find it's really pushed me with my mentoring business, Inner Bloom. So I feel like the universe is kind of like, maybe I'm not, I'm not putting the focus I should be. So the universe is
Right.
like, okay, we're just going to give you a little kick in the butt so
Exactly.
you can get
Yes.
this moving.
Yeah.
So I tend to go back to that. And honestly, I love mentoring women. It makes me so happy to be some sort of or to make some sort of difference in someone's life or be a source of inspiration or empowerment and to be a part of their journey that they've allowed me into their lives to
Yes.
allow me to be a part of their journey is just it's the greatest feeling. So I just try to be a light in this world
Mhm.
because I think we need more of that. And I believe what you put out there comes back to you tenfold. So um,
Absolutely. And it's wonderful that we're supporting each other, right?
yes,
I mean,
yes.
there's no greater reward than supporting others who may have been in your position, who lost a job or lost someone or is going through a difficult situation. There's so much adversity out there. And just to reach out to someone for help and being able to help them is so
Mhm.
rewarding. Um, yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. And, and it helps because you've been through through those things. And, and even though you might not have gone through all situations, the fundamental principles of, surviving, thriving, growing, going on this healing journey, they're basic that,
Mhm.
anybody can apply to any situation really.
Yes. And I have found as well during times of transition, that's when I really learned so much about myself.
Hmm.
That's when you realize how strong you are or what you really want. So, I mean, change, even though sometimes you don't, it's brought upon you
Hmm.
suddenly or
Hmm.
unexpectedly, don't look at it as necessarily as a bad thing because it's
Right.
not.
Yeah.
Try and see, try and look at it like, hey, what can I learn from this? What is this
Right.
teaching me?
Yes. Yeah. Because I always say there are no mistakes. There,
Mm,
mistakes are learning opportunities, really, and opportunities to grow, opportunities to discover other things. Absolutely.
yeah, we're continually growing,
Hmm.
continually evolving. It doesn't end.
No, it
It doesn't
doesn't.
end.
No, you're right. I mean, we're on this journey for, the rest of our life. It's a lifelong
Yeah.
thing. It's just something that, um, we need sometimes, sometimes we'll need encouragement, sometimes we'll need the tools. But the fact is that there's so much out there. There's so many people who can help. And you're not
Mhm.
alone. Nobody's ever alone on this journey. Yeah.
That's so true. Never forget that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you're a Reiki master as well. And
Mhm.
so tell me how do are you doing in person Reiki,
At
distance Reiki?
at present time, I'm not. That is something that I'm thinking of incorporating once again.
Hmm.
So I'm just waiting to see how everything unfolds right
Right.
now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Reiki is such a beautiful thing. I hope to be able to do it again.
Hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, as Reiki masters, even as a Reiki practitioner, you can do self Reiki, which is such
Yes.
a wonderful, energy healing modality.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do a lot of that. I recite the principles to myself every day. Such a
Hmm.
great reminder and
Hmm.
puts you in a good space as you begin
Absolutely.
your day.
Yeah. And so, Pina, if you had to give somebody advice, just, a takeaway, what would it be?
Embrace change, don't fear change, and try to shift your focus, even though, on certain days it might not be the easiest thing to do.
Mhm.
Shift your focus from fear to faith and just know that you are being guided, you are being supported, and everything is working for your highest good. And I think most importantly too is always follow your heart, lead from your heart, always come back to your heart. Because so much time, we spend so much time, I know I do, up in here in our
Yes.
heads.
Yes.
And you have to just try and get out of there and come back to this.
Absolutely. Because our heads, that chatter, that voice gets stronger and stronger the more we listen to it and the more we believe it. Or the
Yes,
more we listen to it, the more we believe it, and then it's true, but it's not true. It's true only.
exactly. How many times have we created stories in our head?
Yes.
I've done it so many times.
Yeah.
Guilty, guilty.
Yeah.
But you just have to stop yourself. No, no, no. And let's come back here.
That's
Come
right.
back here.
Yeah.
Center
Yeah.
yourself.
Exactly. You have to almost, change your thinking, change your
Hmm.
wording so that they're good stories that are being
Yes,
created in your head as opposed to those negative things that tend to blow up and blow out of proportion.
exactly. And if we're humans. So if you start thinking and you're creating these stories in your head, just pause and
Hmm.
think, is this true? Is what
Yeah,
what's going on here? Is it true?
right.
No.
Ask
And
them.
chances are it's not.
Exactly. That's a really good tool to have is, stop your inner critic from going on.
Mhm.
Stop it, and like you said, ask it if it's true. And, even if you believe that it's true, probe a little bit more. Okay, so how is it true? And then, like you said, you're going to find out it's not true at all.
Mhm. And
It's not.
if you're having those anxious moments, grab a notebook and just start writing. Write everything that's coming, let it all out, let it all
Yes,
out. Cry if you need to. I mean, just release it because that'll help you feel better as well. You need to
absolutely.
just release it.
Yeah. And a lot of people find it hard to let go.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it's almost like they're holding on to a precious diamond or something, that,
Mm.
um, yeah, they just find it really, really difficult. But I like your suggestion about writing it down because, it's amazing when you write, you're taking everything out of your brain and putting it onto paper. And it's
Exactly.
almost like, you're making space for other stuff.
Hmm. It's a form of release, and it's really helpful. And if you go back, like I know I've gone back to things I've written in the past, and I see my growth. I see how far I've come because
Yes.
I'm like, wow, I felt that way. Like I was
Hmm.
actually thinking that way.
Right.
So that's kind of a nice thing too, just to see how far you come.
That's a great milestone, actually. And that's a great, way to celebrate you,
Hmm.
right? Because we have
Hmm.
to celebrate ourselves. Uh,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. I'll be honest, like the last 2 years, ever since I started my spiritual journey, which really began with the chakra course,
Uh-huh.
I've learned so much, and I guess so much about myself,
Right.
which has been such a beautiful gift.
And a lot of people may not realize, um, who they really are, what's really important to them, their
Hmm.
why. When they get up in the morning, what is their why? Like, why am I getting up in the morning? Am I dragging out of bed, or am I, embracing the day?
Yes.
And
Or, oh, go ahead.
no, no, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, I was just going to add, or sometimes you learn why you feel a certain thing or why something triggers you the way it
Yes.
does.
Yes.
So it's just, I mean, anyone thinking about beginning their healing journey, it's going to be the best thing that you do for yourself. You
Hmm.
deserve it. So invest in yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And, it's my own journey. I mean, oh my gosh. I mean, ever since I can remember, I always thought that there was something wrong with me. And
Mhm.
I was always, investigating things that might help me get fixed. But then, yeah, about maybe 10 years ago, I'd say, um, I realized that, what, I don't need fixing, I need healing. And
Mhm.
it's such a huge, aha moment. It was a huge aha moment for me because then that's when I wasn't as hard on myself. That's when I
I
started to
love,
forgive myself,
yeah,
you
I
know?
love that. I don't need fixing, I need healing.
Yes.
Again, that shift in perspective makes
That,
all the difference.
exactly. Exactly. Because as I thought I was needing to be fixed, nothing was working. I'd go to
Hmm.
webinar after webinar and conferences and reading books, but nothing really stuck because I was almost butting heads with the whole system almost, And
Really, yeah.
yeah,
It's true. The change starts with you.
it
The
does. Yeah.
change starts with you.
Yeah. 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 Anything else you'd like to add before we
Oh
leave?
gosh. Don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on yourself. As I just said, the change starts with you, and there's so much out there if you're willing to start dealing with what's in here. And love.
Yes.
Give love, receive love, be love.
I love that. You are proof that, you know what, you can get out of anything, and it's that transition like you said. And I think half the battle is realizing that you're in that transition because, when you're put in certain situations, you think that there's no hope, that there are no solutions, but there are. There is a
Mm,
solution to every problem. And like you said,
yeah.
there's so many people out there that can help. You just have to be open.
Yeah. Be open and just quiet the mind.
Yes.
Quiet the mind
Yeah.
and allow the answers to come.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Pina, for taking time
Ah,
out of your day.
my
And
pleasure. Thank
it was
you.
fun chatting, and we'll have to do this another time again.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.